By accident, I pressed the wrong floor in the elevator and decided to walk up the last 2 floors to the apartment I shared with Ryan. But when I unintentionally overheard my fiancé talking to our neighbor, I froze in horror. I had always believed I was one of the lucky few women who found true love. My Ryan. Even his name sounded like the sweetest melody to me. We had been together for 5 years, engaged for 2, and our wedding was just a month away. The wedding I had dreamed of since childhood. A grand ceremony, a white gown with a crystal veil, and a ring symbolizing eternal love. I'm 32, my name is Emily, and I work as an interior designer at a small but respected firm. Ryan, 5 years older than me, runs a chain of electronic stores he built from scratch after college. Everyone said we were the perfect couple, successful, beautiful, in love. We rarely argued, always found compromise, and could read each other without words. Our apartment was in a new high-rise building in downtown Chicago, on the 17th floor. 3 bedrooms, a spacious kitchen, and large windows overlooking the city. I had designed the entire space myself, pouring my heart into every detail. I loved how bright and open it felt. Ryan gave me full freedom with the decor, only offering minor suggestions now and then. That apartment had become our little paradise, the place where we planned to spend our lives, maybe raise kids. We'd moved in 6 months earlier. Before that, I lived in a tiny 1-bedroom apartment inherited from my grandmother, and Ryan had been renting near his office. But when we got engaged, we knew we wanted a fresh start in a place that was truly ours. We'd picked it out together, meticulously reviewing every listing until we found one that matched our dreams. We barely knew our neighbors, just casual greetings, small talk in the elevator. Life in a big city doesn't leave much room for neighborly bonding. The only exception was the family with a teenage son who lived below us. Their kid would occasionally watch our cat, Millie, when we were away for the weekend. Ryan and I rarely had matching schedules. I often worked from home, meeting clients in the morning and spending my afternoons drafting interior concepts. He, on the other hand, was usually in the office until late and often traveled to oversee new store openings. I always missed him terribly on those trips, counting the hours until he returned. The day everything changed began like any other April morning. I woke up to the sound of my alarm, only to find that Ryan was already gone. He always woke up before me. In the kitchen, a fresh cup of coffee and a note were waiting. "Good morning, my love. Big meeting today. I'll be home late. Don't miss me too much. R." I smiled, imagining him scribbling it down in a hurry while tying his tie and checking his phone. My day went on as usual. I met with a new client couple planning to redesign their living room for their anniversary, had lunch with my friend Julia, who worked at a bridal boutique and brought me dress samples, and wrapped up a client proposal from New York. By 6 p.m., I hailed a taxi home to avoid the drizzle outside. In the car, I checked messages, emails from clients, a reminder for Monday's meeting, and a belated engagement congrats from a distant cousin. Everything felt normal. Arriving at the building, I greeted the doorman who logged my entrance. The complex had excellent security, one of the reasons we chose it. I hit the elevator button and waited, flipping through some mail, mostly flyers and a utility bill. The elevator arrived and I pressed what I thought was our floor, lost in thought about dinner. Should I cook if Ryan would be late? Or just reheat yesterday's stew? Only when I stepped out did I realize I was on the 15th floor instead of the 17th. Laughing at myself, I decided to take the stairs. Good exercise, I told myself, especially since I'd been stress-eating desserts in anticipation of the wedding. I reached the 16th floor and paused for breath. Then I heard voices, one male, one female, drifting from above. I didn't pay attention until I heard Ryan's name. I froze. The voice was familiar. Too familiar. It was Ryan's. Curiosity got the better of me. I crept up a few steps, careful not to make a sound. From the stairwell, I saw part of the 17th floor landing. Ryan stood there, his back to me, facing our neighbor, Claire. We didn't talk much, but I knew she lived across the hall alone and worked for a pharmaceutical company. Tall, blonde, always flawless, even in sweats, she looked like a magazine cover. "This can't go on forever, Ryan," Claire said, irritation in her voice. "We need to end this one way or another." "I know," Ryan replied. His tone sent a chill down my spine, low, tender, intimate. A tone I thought was only for me. "Now isn't the right time. Just wait a little longer." "How long?" she asked. "A month?" A year? 10? I'm tired of waiting, tired of sharing you with her. It's unbearable, especially when I see her every day and have to pretend nothing's going on. My heart dropped. My ears rang. My throat went dry. My whole world tilted on its axis. Was I hearing this right? Ryan and Claire? I'll fix everything, he said gently. I promise. Right after the wedding. I have a plan. After the wedding? What kind of plan? Claire scoffed. You're crazy. You're marrying her while telling me you love me. Tears welled in my eyes. My knees buckled. I clutched the railing for support. My Ryan. My love. My fiancé. Cheating on me with our neighbor? How long had this been going on? How had I not seen it? Let's talk inside, Ryan said, taking her hand. She nodded, and they went into her apartment. I stood there frozen. Numb. The world around me blurred. I had no idea how long I stayed there, seconds, minutes, hours. Time didn't exist. Eventually, I forced myself to climb the rest of the stairs. Shaky fingers unlocked the door to our apartment. I stepped inside and collapsed to the floor, sobbing uncontrollably. My chest ached. My vision blurred with tears. How could he do this? To me? To us? I stumbled to the bathroom and vomited. Then I splashed cold water on my face, trying to think. The woman in the mirror looked unfamiliar, pale, red-eyed, broken. The confident, joyful Emily was gone. What remained was a shell with a shattered heart. What now? Walk away? Pretend I heard nothing? Confront him? I wandered to the kitchen, poured a glass of water, and stared into space. Everything felt foreign now. The kitchen I had lovingly decorated in soft hues and ceramic accents felt cold and empty. I glanced at a photo on the shelf, Ryan and I, smiling in the Rockies. Our first trip together. I remembered every second. The blue sky. The crisp air. The way he spun me in his arms like I was his whole world. Had it all been a lie? My phone buzzed. A message from Ryan. Running late. Don't wait up for dinner. Love you. I almost laughed. Love me? Really? I threw the phone on the couch and buried my face in my hands. What should I do? Call him out? Pack my things and leave? Wait for him to return and demand the truth? Each option felt right and wrong at the same time. I thought of calling Julia, but what could I say? Hey, I think my fiancé's sleeping with the neighbor. Heard it from the stairwell. It sounded like something from a bad soap opera. Telling my parents wasn't an option either. My mom adored Ryan, helped plan the wedding, called him her future son-in-law. I couldn't break her heart, not yet. Then I thought of my older sister, Megan. We weren't close, 10 years between us, very different people. But Megan had always been practical and wise. She lived out of state and didn't know Ryan personally. Perfect. I dialed her number, praying she'd answer. Emily? Is everything okay? You never call at this hour. My voice shook. I need to talk to you. It's serious. She listened as I poured everything out, how I pressed the wrong floor, heard the conversation, stood there paralyzed. I was rambling, crying, skipping details, gasping for breath. She said nothing. Gee, just listened. When I finished, she paused. Then softly, are you sure you understood what you heard? They said things like, I'm tired of sharing you, and you're marrying her but love me. What else could it mean? I don't know, she admitted. But Ryan always seemed so devoted to you. I thought we were solid, I whispered. I never saw this coming. What are you going to do? I don't know. I broke down again. Half of me wants to leave. The other half wants to hear his explanation. Then you should talk to him, she said. Face him. Tell him what you heard. Demand the truth. And if the truth is what I think it is, then at least you'll know. You'll know before you commit your whole life. She was right. I thanked her, ended the call, and sat in silence. At least now I had a plan. Wait, confront him, get answers. At 10:30, I heard the key turn. My heart raced. Ryan stepped into the apartment, holding a bouquet of lilies, my favorite. Hey, babe, he smiled, leaning in for a kiss. I turned my head. He paused, confused. What's wrong? I stood. We need to talk. His smile faded. He sat beside me, flowers resting on the table. I'm listening. I took a deep breath. I came home early today. Oh, he said casually. Didn't know. I was at work all day, meetings ran late. I know you weren't home, I said, locking eyes with him. Because I saw you. His face shifted. A flicker of worry quickly masked. Saw me. On the stairwell. With Claire. His eyes widened. Lips pressed into a thin line. Emily, I can explain. Then explain why she said she's tired of sharing you. Why she asked if you're marrying me even though you love her. Explain that, Ryan. He looked down. Silent. And in that silence I saw the truth. It's not what you think, he began. And what am I supposed to think? I cut him off. That it's a platonic friendship? That she's your business partner? That you were just discussing the weather? No, of course not. He shook his head. I'm not going to lie to you. There is something between me and Diana. Even though I already knew hearing the confession from his own lips was unbearable, like someone had driven a knife through my chest and slowly twisted it. I turned away, unwilling to let him see my tears. How long? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. 6 months, he said quietly. 6 months? The entire time we'd been living in this apartment. The entire time I was planning our wedding, trying on dresses, putting together a guest list, dreaming of our future. He was with her. And all this time you lied to me. It wasn't a question, it was a fact. He looked me in the eyes and said nothing. I didn't want to hurt you, he said, full of remorse. I got confused, Anna. I didn't know what the right thing to do was. The right thing. I turned to him now, no longer hiding my tears. The right thing would have been not to cheat. The right thing would have been to tell me the truth the moment you realized you had feelings for someone else. The right thing would have been not to plan a wedding with me while loving another woman. I love you, Anna, he said and reached for my hand, but I pulled it away. I really do love you. It's just with Diana it's different. It's like I'm under a spell. I can't explain it. You don't have to. I stood up. I don't need your explanations. I need the truth. Do you love her? He looked down. Said nothing. That silence said more than any words could. I see. I nodded slowly, feeling something inside me finally break. Then there's nothing left for us to talk about. Anna, please, he stood too. Let's talk this through. I know I messed up. But maybe we can fix this. Fix it. I gave a bitter laugh. How do you fix betrayal, Scott? You cheated on me. You cheated on our love, on the trust we had. You planned a wedding with me while loving another woman. How do you fix that? I don't know, he admitted, his voice breaking. But I don't want to lose you. You already did, I said firmly. The moment you chose her. I headed to the bedroom to pack what I needed. I couldn't stay in that apartment another minute. Every single item reminded me of the life I thought we were building together, the life that had been a lie. Scott followed me. Where are you going? I'm leaving, I said, pulling out a duffel bag. I can't stay here. Anna, it's the middle of the night. Where will you go? Not your concern. I started tossing clothes into the bag. My movements were mechanical. I didn't care what I packed. I just wanted out. Please don't go, he said, desperate. Let's talk in the morning. You're upset right now. Don't make a decision like this. My decision is made. I zipped the bag and turned to him. It's over, Scott. There won't be a wedding. We're done. You can't just throw away 5 years, he protested. We've been through so much together. Doesn't that mean anything to you? It meant everything to me. I grabbed my bag and walked toward the door. But if those 5 years meant anything to you, you wouldn't have betrayed me. He stepped in front of the door. I'm not letting you walk out in the middle of the night. It's not safe. Stay here. I'll sleep on the couch. No, I shook my head. I can't breathe in the same space as you. Then tell me where you're going. I need to know you're safe. I'm going to stay with Rachel, I lied. I didn't really know where I'd go. Maybe to my friend's place. Maybe to a hotel. I just knew I had to get away from him to think. Okay. He reluctantly stepped aside. But promise me you'll text when you get there. Just so I know you're okay. Don't worry about me, I said coldly. Go be with Diana. You don't have to hide it anymore. And with that I walked out and slammed the door behind me. Only once I was in the hallway did I realize I was trembling. I leaned against the wall trying to steady my breathing. Where to now? My eyes landed on the apartment across the hall. Diana's place. Scott would probably call her the moment I left, maybe even go straight there. The thought made me nauseous. I hurried to the elevator. I had to get as far away as possible. Outside, the rain had stopped, but the air was damp. I stood on the sidewalk debating where to go. Rachel's? I didn't want to explain anything. Not tonight. Not while the wound was still raw. A hotel. Yes, that made sense. I pulled out my phone, opened the rideshare app, and selected the nearest hotel I knew was clean and quiet. I prayed Scott wouldn't follow me. 10 minutes later, the car arrived. I climbed into the back seat and slumped against the window, overwhelmed with exhaustion. Only now, with the adrenaline wearing off, did I feel how drained I was emotionally and physically. The driver tried to chat, but quickly gave up and turned on soft music. I closed my eyes, letting the sound wash over me, trying not to think. But images kept playing on repeat. Scott, Diana, his confession, my departure. It felt like I was watching a movie, someone else's tragic love story. The hotel was small but respectable. I'd been there before when clients visited from out of town. The receptionist greeted me with a warm smile. "Good evening. How can I help?" "I need a room," I said. "Just for one night." "Single or double?" "Single." She took my ID, processed the check-in, and handed me a key card. "Room 215, second floor. Breakfast is served from 7 to 10. Let me know if you need anything." I thanked her and made my way to the elevator. The room was plain: bed, desk, TV, bathroom. But it was clean. And more importantly, it was mine for the night. I dropped the bag, took off my coat, and sat on the edge of the bed. Only now, completely alone, did the full weight of what happened hit me. My fiancé, the man I loved, the man I was going to marry, he cheated on me. With the neighbor. For 6 months. I sobbed deep, raw sobs that tore out of my chest and shook my whole body. Everything I believed in, our love, our future, crumbled in a moment. And the worst part? I hadn't seen it coming. I had been blissfully, stupidly happy. I don't know how long I cried. But eventually the tears ran out. I felt empty. I showered, threw on a t-shirt I'd packed, and crawled into bed. Sleep didn't come. I just stared at the ceiling, wondering how my life could change so drastically in a single day. That morning, I was a happy bride-to-be. Now I was a broken woman in a hotel room, with nothing left but silence and grief. I stared at the elevator buttons for a long time before finally pressing for the 17th floor. Just yesterday at this same time, I was heading home, unaware that everything was about to change. It's frightening how much can happen in a single day. When I stepped out of the elevator, I froze in front of our apartment door. My heart pounded so violently it felt like it might burst out of my chest. "You can do this," I whispered to myself. "You're strong. You've got this." Taking a deep breath, I pulled out my key and unlocked the door. The apartment was quiet. "Michael?" I called as I stepped inside. No response. I let out a sigh of relief and walked into the living room. Everything looked exactly the same. The bouquet of lilies he brought me still sat in a vase on the coffee table. Seeing those flowers made my throat tighten. How could he bring me flowers, knowing he was betraying me the whole time? Pushing the thought aside, I walked to the bedroom. I needed to pack the essentials: clothes, documents, work materials. The rest could be picked up later when I figured out where I'd be living long term. I opened the closet and began to pack, moving like a machine, grabbing whatever I might need for the next few days: dresses, blouses, jeans, underwear, shoes, makeup, toiletries. I took my laptop, charger, and documents from the safe. Then my eyes landed on a photo in a frame on the nightstand. Michael and me in front of the Eiffel Tower. Our trip to Paris for my 30th birthday. That's when he proposed at a tiny restaurant on Montmartre. I had been so happy. So sure it was forever. I picked up the photo and stared at it for a long time before placing it back with a firm hand. That was the past. Something that would never happen again. I had to let it go no matter how painful it was. When I finished packing, I looked around. What else? I had everything I truly needed. The rest could stay. They were just things. Not worth reliving this pain again and again. I was about to leave when I heard the front door open. My heart stopped. "Michael." "Anna." His voice was surprised, almost hopeful. "You're back." I stepped into the hallway, my bag in hand. "I came for my things." His face fell. "That's it. What else did you expect? That I'd come back like nothing happened? That I'd forgive you and we'd go back to planning our wedding?" "I hope we could talk," he said, stepping toward me. "I want to explain." "There's nothing to explain." I took a step back, widening the distance between us. "You cheated on me. For 6 months. With our neighbor. You planned a wedding with me while loving someone else. What else is there to say? It's more complicated than that." "No, Michael. It's simple. You betrayed me. You betrayed our love. And it's over. Please, Anna," he begged. "I know I hurt you. I was awful. But I love you. I've always loved you. And what about Danielle? Do you love her too?" He dropped his eyes. The silence said more than any words. That's what I thought. I nodded. I'm taking my things and I'm leaving for good. You can live here with her or without her. I don't care. The lease is in your name. There won't be any issues. What about the wedding? He asked quietly. The guests? The venue? Everything's already paid for. I stared at him in disbelief. Are you serious? You really think I still want to marry you after everything? No. I mean, just it's going to be a scandal. What will we tell people? Our families. The truth, I said flatly. That there won't be a wedding because the groom is a liar and a cheat. Or lie if you prefer. I don't care. It's your mess, not mine. Anna, please. He stepped closer. Let's just talk. I know I messed up. I know I hurt you. But maybe we can fix this. Start over. No, I said, shaking my head. Some things can't be fixed. Trust is one of them. And I'll never trust you again. I'll earn it back, he insisted. Please. For the 5 years we shared. For everything we were. We were. Past tense. You destroyed it. I turned toward the door, but he stepped in front of me. Don't go like this, he pleaded. I can't lose you. But you could be with Danielle, I said coldly. You managed for 6 months. You'll manage now. It's over with Danielle, he said quickly. I told her this morning. I told her I couldn't see her anymore, that I chose you. I stopped. When? This morning. After you left. I realized I was about to lose you. And I couldn't let that happen. You're the most important person in my life, Anna. And that's why you cheated? I gave a bitter laugh. Funny way to show I matter. I got lost, he admitted. With Danielle it wasn't love. Just attention. Flattery. Felt good, but it wasn't real. What I feel for you, that's real. And that's supposed to comfort me? That you destroyed what we had over a fling. I shook my head. That doesn't make it better, Michael. It makes it worse. I'll do anything to fix this, he whispered. Just tell me how. Step aside and let me go, I said firmly. That's all you can do. He stepped back slowly, giving me space. Will you ever come back? No, I shook my head. Never. I closed the door behind me and leaned against the wall in the hallway, trying to catch my breath. The conversation had drained me, but I was proud. I hadn't screamed, I hadn't cried. I stood my ground and made it clear. It was over. The door across the hall opened. Danielle stepped out and froze when she saw me. Guilt and surprise flashed across her face. Anna, she said. I'm sorry. Really? I asked, my voice icy. Sorry enough to sleep with my fiancé for half a year? She looked down. I know what I did was terrible. I don't expect forgiveness. I just wanted you to know I truly regret hurting you. You regret getting caught, I said. If I hadn't overheard your conversation, you would have kept lying to me. Maybe even after the wedding. No, she shook her head. I told Michael he had to tell you. I told him it couldn't go on. But he kept saying he'd find the right time. How convenient. I'm not asking for forgiveness, she said quietly. I just thought you deserved the truth. Well, now I know. Take Michael. He's all yours. I'm done. I walked to the elevator and left her standing there. I didn't care if she ran back to him or not. It was no longer my concern. Outside, my best friend Lauren was waiting for me in the car. She jumped out when she saw me and grabbed the heavy bag from my hand. How'd it go? She asked. I saw them both, I said. Told them everything. And now I'm free. I'm proud of you, she said, wrapping me in a hug. You're strong, Anna. You're gonna be okay. I know. I gave her a weak smile. But right now I need time to heal, to think about the future. You'll have it, she promised. Now let's go home. I'll make your favorite mint tea, and we'll binge stupid comedies all night like the old days. That sounds perfect, I said, stepping into the car. As we drove away from the building I once called home, I didn't look back. That life was behind me. The future was uncertain, but it was mine. Goodbye, Diana. We went our separate ways. I walked through the evening city thinking about our conversation about Scott, about what Diana had said. He loved me, always had, but love wasn't enough to stop him from betraying me. Could I forgive him? Could I ever trust him again? Would we ever be able to return to what we had before it all fell apart? I didn't know the answers, but for the first time in a long while, I felt ready to at least ask myself those questions. Ready to consider not forgiveness but maybe understanding. Acceptance. Accepting what happened as part of my life, not a wound that would define my future. When I got home, I sat by the window for a long time, staring at the night city. Then I picked up my phone and texted Scott. "Hi, I met with Diana today. She said she's leaving the country." His reply came almost instantly. "Yes, I know. She told me last week. She also said that you love me, that you always have." Pause. It's true. I never stopped loving you, Anna. Even when I betrayed you. Especially then. I don't understand how someone can betray the person they love. Me neither, he answered honestly. I've thought about it a lot. Asked myself how I could do that to you. The only answer I found. I was weak. Vain. Selfish. I let my flaws win over love. I said nothing. I didn't know what to say. I'm not asking you to come back, he went on. I'm not asking for forgiveness. Just, maybe we could talk. In person. Not over messages. I hesitated. Was I ready for that conversation? To sit across from Scott, look into his eyes, hear his side of the story? Okay, I finally wrote. Let's meet. We agreed to meet the next day in a park we used to love walking in together. Neutral ground. An open space. No pressure. I barely slept that night, turning over thoughts about the upcoming conversation. What would I say to him? What did I want to hear? What was I hoping for? In the morning, I took extra time getting dressed. I didn't want to look like I was preparing for a date, but I also didn't want to look careless. I settled on jeans, a white blouse, and a light jacket. Simple, neat. I tied my hair back and kept makeup to a minimum. The park was nearly empty weekday morning, most people at work. I sat on the bench by the pond, our favorite spot, and waited. Scott arrived exactly on time. When he saw me, he paused as if he couldn't believe it was real. Then he walked slowly over and sat next to me, keeping enough distance so I wouldn't feel uncomfortable. Hi, he said quietly. Hi, I replied, my eyes on the water. We sat in silence for several minutes, unsure how to begin. There was so much to say, and yet no words felt right. I missed you, he finally said. Every day. Every minute. I turned to him. Then why? Why did you do it? Why betray me, our love, our plans? He was quiet for a long time. I've thought about that a lot. Tried to come up with something that made sense. The truth is, I got lost. Diana showed up when I was doubting myself, my future, my abilities. My business was in trouble. I was scared I couldn't provide for you. That I'd disappoint you. You never told me that, I noted. Because I was ashamed, he admitted. You were so confident, so successful. And I felt like a failure. Diana admired me. She saw something in me I couldn't see in myself. It fed my ego. Made me feel like I mattered. And you thought that was worth destroying everything we had? No, he shook his head. I never meant to destroy us. I kept telling myself it was temporary. That it would end. That you'd never find out. I was selfish. And stupid. The wedding. I couldn't hide the bitterness in my voice. You proposed to me, knowing you were seeing someone else. I tried to end things with Diana, he said quietly. More than once. But I kept going back. It was like a spell. But I never stopped loving you. I never doubted that I wanted to be with you. Love and betrayal don't go together, Scott. I shook my head. You can't love someone and hurt them that deeply at the same time. I know. He lowered his eyes. I'm not asking you to understand or forgive me. Just, I need you to know I regret it. Every single day. I wake up with that regret and go to sleep with it. I looked at him, the man I once loved more than anything. The man I trusted completely. Who shattered my heart. And I realized the rage, the pain, the bitterness, it was still there, but softer now. More like sadness. Sadness for what could have been. What do you want from me, Scott? I asked plainly. Why did you want to meet? Honestly, he met my gaze. A second chance. I want to prove I could be the man you deserve. The one who never lies, never betrays, never hurts you. But you already proved the opposite, I said quietly. I know. He nodded. And I understand I have no right to ask for anything. But I love you, Anna. Always have. Always will. If there's even the slightest chance that one day you might trust me again. I'll wait. I looked at the ducks in the pond, the fallen leaves circling the surface, then back at him. I don't know, Scott. I really don't. I don't know if I can ever trust you again. I don't know if I can forget what happened. But I'm willing to try. Not a relationship. Not yet. But maybe we can get to know each other again. As friends. And see if anything is still there. His face lit up, hope flooding his eyes. Really? You'd give me a chance. A small one, I clarified. Not to be with me, but to prove you even deserve friendship. That's all I can offer right now. I'll take it, he said with quiet determination. I promise, Anna. I'll do everything I can to earn even that. I nodded. I wasn't sure if anything good would come of this, but I needed to try, not for him but for myself. To close the chapter not with bitterness, but with clarity. We sat in the park a long time talking about everything and nothing. Work, friends, the future. We didn't talk about the past. Not about the betrayal. We just talked like in the beginning when things were simple. When it was time to part, Scott asked, "Can I call you? Maybe we could get coffee next week." I thought for a moment then nodded. Okay, but let's not rush things. I need time. Of course. He nodded seriously. Whatever you need. Your pace. We said goodbye and I walked home feeling strangely light. I didn't know what the future would bring. If we'd even rebuild a friendship, let alone more, but I knew I'd taken a step. A step not toward him but toward healing. In his eyes I saw a mixture of emotions. Hope, tenderness, regret, desire. I was sure my own eyes reflected the same. Good night, he said quietly. Good night, I replied, quickly entering the building without looking back. Riding the elevator up, my heart pounded in my chest. What am I doing? Am I doing the right thing by letting Scott back into my life? Is this a mistake? Will it hurt even more if he betrays me again? But another voice inside told me I deserved a second chance. Not just Scott, but myself too. The right to try again. To believe in the possibility of healing, forgiveness, and a new beginning. That evening with Scott changed something between us. Our phone calls became more frequent, more personal. We started seeing each other. First once a week, then more often. We went to the movies, museums, just walked around the city like friends, nothing more. But with each meeting, I felt old feelings I had carefully buried beginning to stir again. I fought them, refusing to let them take over. The memories of betrayal were too fresh, the wound he caused too deep. At the same time, I couldn't deny Scott had changed. He was more open, honest, attentive. He told me about his doubts, fears, and failures. Not just in business but in life. He hid nothing, even when it made him look vulnerable. One day while we walked in the park, he suddenly stopped and turned to me. Anna, I have to tell you something. I tensed, expecting anything. I'm listening. I met someone else after Diana before we started talking again. But when I realized that, something twisted inside me, jealousy, pain, I don't know. Definitely not what I expected to feel. It didn't last, he continued, seeing my reaction. Just a few meetings. Nothing serious. Why are you telling me this? I asked, trying to keep my voice steady. We're not together, Scott. You don't owe me an account of your private life. I know, he nodded. But I promised myself I would never hide anything from you again. Never lie, even about small things. I want you to know that since we reconnected, I haven't dated anyone else, and I don't want to. I didn't know what to say. His honesty touched me but also reminded me of what we'd been through, and why we were just friends now, not a couple. Thank you for being honest, I finally said. I appreciate it. He accepted my words without pressing further. We continued our walk, and gradually the tension gave way to the familiar comfort of our connection. That night back home I sat by the window thinking about Scott, about us, about what the future might hold. I wasn't ready for romance yet. Not with him or anyone. The wound of betrayal hadn't fully healed. But I couldn't deny my feelings were shifting. Anger and hurt slowly giving way to understanding, acceptance, maybe even forgiveness. The next day, I called my therapist and asked for an unscheduled session. I needed advice, an outside perspective, a professional assessment of what was happening between Scott and me. You're afraid of your feelings, she said after listening. Afraid to trust him again, to open yourself up. And that's okay, Anna. After what you went through, it would be strange not to be afraid. But I don't know how to handle this fear, I admitted. Part of me wants to take the risk, to give us a second chance. The other part is terrified it will happen again, that I'll be hurt once more. And what does your intuition say? She asked. Not your mind, not your heart, but your gut. Do you believe he has changed? I thought for a moment. Yes, I said finally. I believe it. I see it in his actions, in his words, in how he treats me and others. He's better, not just for me but for himself. Then maybe it's worth trying, she suggested gently. Not diving headfirst into a relationship, but taking a small step. See where it leads. You can always stop if it's not right for you. Her words made me think. Maybe she was right. Maybe I'd held on to the past, the pain, the bitterness too long. Maybe it was time to let go and move. FO. Lands, fears, hopes, dreams. When it was time to say goodbye, Scott didn't try to stay or hint at more than conversation. He respected my boundaries, my pace, my right to decide how and when to move forward. At the door he hugged me gently, like that time outside my old house. But this time I didn't pull away immediately. I let myself lean in for a moment, breathe in his scent, feel his warmth. It was strangely familiar and new at the same time, as if I was holding both the man from my past and someone entirely new. Thank you for tonight, he said, releasing me. It was special. Yes, I nodded. For me too. After he left, I sat in the quiet apartment, thinking about how easy it had been with him, how natural, as if the past year hadn't happened. No betrayal, no pain, no separation. Just the two of us enjoying each other's company. But I knew it was an illusion. All those things had happened. They changed us in our relationship. We could never go back to what we had before. Maybe we could build something new. Something based not on blind faith but conscious choice. Not on naivety but acceptance that we are imperfect, that we all make mistakes, that we all deserve a second chance. I didn't have all the answers, but for the first time in a long time I looked to the future, not with fear, but with hope and faith that whatever comes next, I will manage because I have already survived the worst. I had become stronger, wiser, whole. And that knowledge was the greatest gift that accidental overheard conversation on the stairwell had given me.